Hi everyone. Let me try to turn this off. Is lighting okay? Long time no see everyone. So good morning, good evening. I'm in Chicago, so this is like 9 p.m. And thank you for joining in today. So today we are going to try something different. I got amazing armies of support today. I got thank you Brad and Dave and Michael. I got moderators, so it's hopefully gonna help you to ask me the questions, and it's going to less overwhelm me, and I can pay attention to more the questions were thoughtful, less about just attacking me. So well, let's hope that this is going to be even more pleasant. So how have you been, guys? I've been missing you so much. I think since the last time I joined the live. After that, I was in Florida, I was in Bahamas, and this Sunday I'm going to Texas. So I think the life is coming back again. Hi guys, so good to see you. I will see you guys are so lovely. 안녕하세요. So today I said, today I was going to share my thoughts on radical feminism because this has been the question I've been receiving a lot lately. And I do have some opinions on it because now I've been living here for almost 5 years. I got to see the both sides, and I am neither of those. And I will explain why. But if that's not what you're interested today, I'm happy to talk about anything. But this was like what I thought it would be helpful for us to discuss and really like understanding the truth. I'm sure we will not fully understand what it is, but by talking about it, I think we can still do some good with that. But anyway, you can ask me anything, literally. It doesn't have to be related to the topic. So thank you so much for finishing my book. We're Philly, right? Are you using Clubhouse? Harrison. So I am on Clubhouse. I have used a few times when I was talking about Bitcoin. So do you guys know that I'm super into Bitcoin? So in a few weeks, actually, I'm gonna do an interview with one of the experts in the crypto world, and I will talk about why I completely believe that the current fiat currency is a theft. They are like by printing these trillions of dollars each month, stealing money from these people who saved and working so hard, making our money worth nothing and giving it to these rich people who owns assets. And therefore, I join Clubhouse often. I just usually the listener. Like I do YouTube, I talk a lot. I feel so bad people who have to listen to me all the time. So I like to just go on the Clubhouse and listening to other people. And they got so many smart, incredible people there. So can you make for your skincare routine? I do have the skincare routine video on my other channel. I know I really gotten busy. I only uploaded a few videos there, but there is a video that I did on the skincare. Because this is something constantly I get all the time. So Alicia Taylor, my Simsly, but are you on TikTok? I feel like that would be a great place to have your voice heard. I'm not on TikTok. The reason why I didn't join TikTok was I thought it was owned by a Chinese company, and like as you guys know, I do not have the good feelings with China whatsoever. So I love Chinese people, but I do not like the regime there. So that's why I'm not on TikTok. If it's being bought by an American company, I'm sure I will join it. It's gonna be very fun there. How much of American history do you know? What? It's very subjective thing, right? How much do I know about certain subject? I don't think, no way I know enough, for sure not. But I do think I did my best to hear and read about it, and I tried my best to read both sides of history. it is funny, like history is not so objective. It's really all about who wrote it, who's talking about it, who's narrating it. So I gave my best shot to learning both sides. Oh, Billy, thank you so much. You're so sweet. So yes, I am into Bitcoin, guys. You should all get into Bitcoin. Not for making profits. I mean, sure, it's good, but the thing is, how much is empowering individuals and taking that power from the government who is gonna screw all of us. I think it's important. Let's see. So have you ever been in Europe? Which country would you like to see? I've been to Europe. I love European countries. I mean, America's lovely. I live in Chicago, it's pretty flat, but when I go to Europe, I do think it reminds me of my hometown a bit more than being in America, because the size-wise, European countries are a lot smaller, and the parts that I've been were more like mountainous, so I love going there. Let's see. So what made you decide to go to public about your story? Are you scared you might get sent back? Madeline asks, what made me? So initially, I was 17 years old in South Korea. I was offered to get on an entertainment show when I was 17 years old in South Korea. And then initially I was like, no, it's not gonna happen. And I was also worried that it was going to put my rest of the family that I left behind in North Korea, gonna put them in danger. But they told me if I go on that show, the South Korean shows are super popular in China, so maybe my sister who I lost back then might see it. And so that's I got on there to share my story to looking for my own sister. That was the beginning. However, after 3 years being on the show with my fellow defectors, it really like gave me the opportunity to rethink about what we went through, and brought so many my memories back that I tried everything I could to erase. And then that's when I realized more and more that like, oh, I need to speak out no matter what. And then let's see. So what is your fond memory of life in North Korea? Oh my gosh, seriously, nothing other than people. Well, I guess the other thing, maybe if I really have to squeeze my brain to think, what do I miss about North Korea? Or can I say this? Even though our life was super hard, it was too hard, but I don't remember anyone complaining actually. Sorry guys, but it is still very new for me to be in a country where it's just everybody obsessed with complaining. And yeah, North Korean people are super simple in a way, because we did not learn how to think critically, and we did not learn how to think for ourselves. So we were super obedient. But also there's some beauty of, taking the suffering as it is, and instead of to fight why life is hard. I think we had more attitudes there that we expected life to be hard. So I think that's what I always thinking about, like how little I had back then. All I wanted was being fed, and now I'm here living here. Like literally I was like yesterday washing strawberry on my sink, and I've never seen that kind of strawberry in my life in North Korea. I had a running water washing the strawberries. I had this electricity and heater. If this is what I had even 1 hour of my life in North Korea, I would be like losing my mind out of happiness, like literally, but I wasn't. I'm here having all this luxury, and I think, oh, life is okay, it's not too good. So that's the thing, I guess, happiness is such a relative thing, and That's what it really is when it comes down to that, You can be always happier, you can be always complaining and miserable. And I try my best to keep that perspective and keep reflecting what I went through. Not every day, but some days I do it. You guys are so sweet. Hi, Franziev. Is that how I say your name? Are you protected by the US government? I hope you are always safe. Kim Jong-un is unpredictable. I am not a citizen. I am a green card holder. And I don't know if the US government is ever interested in protecting North Korean defector, because I never heard from them. I hope they do reach out to me. But in South Korea, when I was there, the South Korean intelligence told me that I was on the target list, and they were really trying their best to protect me. And but not the U.S. government. I don't think U.S. government is, I think, very afraid because people keep telling them you are intervening with other things. So I don't know why they just never reach out to me. So Leon, good to see you, Leon. Feminism used to be the most righteous of the fights, but these days it feels like they secretly hate guys. I don't trust anyone who believes for a week and don't die. I'm joking, but everything else that I said is right. You're Tom McDonald. So this was a topic we're going to talk about, the radical feminism. If you guys don't like it, we can move the passing. So my observation, well, you guys know that I'm now back in the dating market. So embarrassing. And so when I went to New York, when I was 21 years old, I was going to Columbia University, and then a lot of my friends were going to NYU. And then when they graduate, and then they become now like in the mid 30s, and then in their like late 20s, and all my girls are just so unhappy. This is so highly successful women, like getting six-figure, their salaries each year. They are on top of the world. They work in Manhattan of bankers and top law firm lawyers, and they're trying to become like partners at the consulting firm. And one thing they cannot succeed right now is that finding a responsible man. So in New York City, it's a pandemic there that all these guys do not want to be committing to them. They don't want to commit ever, and they want to just keep dating around. And my friends, women who has a biological clock, right? They have the kids. Now they're desperate, looking for guys who's willing to be responsible for their women. Somebody coming from North Korea, this is what men do, right? When they go out with the women, men going out with the attitude of that I'm gonna take care of you for the rest of your life, like I am responsible for our relationship. And from my culture, it's like unthinkable that guys don't want to be responsible. And I was thinking in the beginning, I was blaming guys, like what's wrong with these Western men? Like they are so irresponsible, and I cannot believe what's going on with them. And then after spending more time in America, I realized what made into them that way. It's because women constantly telling them that men, they don't need men. They don't need in life to have a man. But there's a reason why it needs a man and women together to create a baby, right? We cannot do it alone. There's a reason why we need each other. We are on the same team. We are not on the opposition. But in this rhetorics where we talk about toxic masculinity, can you imagine we talk about toxic feminism? Femininity? That is unthinkable. I remember still one day at my Columbia University in the senior year, it's a humanity class, my professor were telling me that when you're walking on the street, usually women are the ones going around, and guys will never let you go. And then the fact that men holds a door for you is showing that they are overpowering you, show their masculinity in that way. And I told her, no, I don't think so. I think I hold a man for other people because I just try to be nice and be decent for them. And she was like, no, you're just so brainwashed. And then she was saying, and I told her like, no, there's a physical difference between men and women in generally speaking. Of course, individually there are super strong women physically, but in general, like I have less muscle index than men, right? So in general, men does not be able to carry more bricks than I am. And she was like, why do you think so? Like, have you tried? It's like, you can carry as many bricks as men does. You can do exactly what men do. Where is this like nonsense idea coming from? And she was grilling me in this class. Eventually I was like, okay, I'm brainwashed, so what can I do? Because I was senior year, I need to like pass that class to graduate. I was like, okay, fine. And but the thing is, now we are all suffering. Like, men feel bad about being a man, feel bad about being competitive and being masculine and being physically powerful than women. And women now feeling horrible because they cannot find a man who's responsible, who's gonna be brave enough to be committed and take that risk. So I think it's like nobody ends up winning by having this radical feminism in this society. Of course, the original feminism where we try to have a equal opportunity, right? Like, we all have the same access to things. That was lovely. That was a beautiful thing that women fought for. But the things that now we are fighting for as a lot of radical feminist fighting is like destruction of our society, the fundamental of our world. And this is so heartbreaking. Like, all my friends are suffering because they cannot find a guys who wants to be exclusive. And like, of course, North Korean men didn't learn how to treat women, and they had to learn a lot, I think. But the thing is, I cannot imagine now I'm in the world where men doesn't want to be responsible. And this is so new to me, coming from North Korea. Like, in North Korea, like, when men dates a woman, they don't separate women as like dating or marriage material. They date a woman to be with them for the rest of their life and try to take care of each other. Not trying to show who can do more and competing with each other, but like, we try to help each other, lift each other. That is our role for each other between women and men. It's not like competing. And now I'm here, like, where there's a war between genders, and I'm like, yeah. So I think I lost a lot of questions here. Let's see. Thank you, Prickly, is that right? And Steve, Oreos or Twinkies, pizza or steak, McDonald's or Chick-fil-A, WB and Lego Mega Bloks, Nintendo or Sega. I'm gonna go with Oreos and steak because I didn't eat steak. Talk time with Eddie. Thank you so much. So thank you again, Leon, for that thoughtful question. So let's see. Thank you, Billy, again. So Andrew, right? Good to see you. Sorry if this is off topic, but I'm curious. What is the poster mail systems like for regular citizens in North Korea? Can you get send mail easily? So that's a fascinating question. So one of the videos I talked about that we do not have the culture of sending those thank you cards because like paper is extremely rare and precious. I never seen those cards like birthday cards, Valentine's cards, or thank you cards. That was new. And also the infrastructure is completely failed in North Korea. Even when I was younger, earlier in the 90s, it worked a little bit. Like, literally, if somebody died, our relative died, they don't send out like mails because it takes months and never get delivered. Those postal office collapsed. It is worse than, I think, even a few centuries ago for other countries. I see this like the World War II, World War One movies where families receiving letters, and that thing is not even working. Even within North Koreans, we are not allowed to touch base in each other. So nowadays, at least people have the cell phone, but before then, like, we couldn't even write to within each other. Only like, so when my mom would like leave me with my sister, and then she said like I will be back in 40 days. There's a 80 chance of me never knowing what's gonna happen to her. Like because there's no way she could write to us. There's no way we had a phone number to call her. Nobody could do that. And so yeah, I still cannot believe that's how we lived. In North Korea, when you wanna meet somebody, like you need to go knock on their door in your neighborhood and like let's meet somebody under same tree or maybe under same like a station at this time. And then so it's really made all of us very hard to mobilize. And that's the thing, how to isolate all of us from each other, even within North Korea, so people cannot be in staying touch with each other. And yeah, so of course there's no way us sending a mail to North Korean person right now, but even North Koreans within themselves cannot send mails to each other. Thank you so much, Jade. And then okay, I think I got all those questions now. So Brett, thank you so much. Thoughts on the Chinese government and treatment of North Korean defectors? Yeah, I mean, it's horrible. Chinese government is causing so much harm for the rest of the humanity, not just North Koreans. It is sickening to see right now in America all these corporations like Nike, Disney. I mean, all these companies saying they are against slavery, they are against discrimination, they are against oppression. All of these things are having business with Chinese regime, who does all of these things, enslaves people, torture people, oppress people, sending them, concentration camps, sending their organs. Like, this is a hypocrisy, like sickens me to my core. Like all these people, virtue signals every single day, what a good people they are, and how reflective people they are. And then, like, look at those LeBron James. He talks about all those lovely things in America, while when there are people, these young people fighting for freedom in Hong Kong, and he defends the Chinese regime on it. So, yeah, that's why it's very hard for me to believe these like politicians having all this like politically correct agenda when they mean nothing about it. So, Farzin, is that right? How ironic that a North Korean is the free thinker surrounded by US-born, ideologically possessed university students. Oh, thank you so much. Like after seeing you North Korea, how can you be a socialist? Is no way. Like if you know what socialism does, the full socialism does, you can never be a socialist and what they do, because that's a destruction of individualism. Means like there's no more dignity for being a human. That's the thing, like when you go this collectivism, like you don't matter, like I don't matter in North Korea, saying I is not allowed. Like even when I say I like water, I say we like water. The most unnatural word that I had to use in South Korea was saying I for the first time. And that's how they kill you, individuals. And then what matters is revolution. What matters is what the regime, the government thinks. That's all matters at the end of the day. And yeah, individual matter. This is the most sacred thing that. So let's see. I think how we should be clapping for our moderators, guys. They are doing such an amazing job today to make it easier. I get to see more questions today easily. Thank you, Kid. So the Tinker, I like the name. Have you considered interviewing with the Timpo or the Lotus Eaters? I will like look into the Lotus Eaters. I'm not sure who they are, but I know Timpo. I've been following on his YouTube channel and Twitter for some time. He's incredible. I don't know how to reach out to him, and but I would love to. It'd be fascinating to hear some perspectives. He got really interesting perspective, I believe. Let's see. So Alexander, how did the DPRK teach about Cold War history? So this is the thing. In North Korea, history is forgotten. I did not know who Mozart was. I did not know who Beethoven was. I did not know who Jesus Christ was. But I'm sure the elite people learn about it, but most of the top bottom people, they don't teach us, because why is it useful to teach us about the history? They do teach the history that is only related to Kims. So for instance, they did mention that the Holocaust ended by Kim Il-sung. He freed the Jewish people from Nazi Germany. He ended the World War II and freed all these countries. And then Cold War, they don't really mention. But the thing is, like, most of things that we learn is very inconsistent. Like, literally one day we go to school, like they say China is our enemy, and then like next year we go to school, they say Chinese our brothers. One day they say like, oh, the Marxists, like Marx, and then like Lenin, Russia, Soviet Union is our friend. But then the other day they say, oh, they betrayed socialism, so we are gonna hate them. They're our enemies. It is like exactly like in 1984 in George Orwell. Like, your enemies is constantly changing. I think only constant enemy they kept was Americans and Japanese. They were the constant enemy, and North Koreans' attitude towards China and Russia was constantly shifting around. So it is like they just keep rewriting the history for us. And nobody knows what truth anymore. Like, nobody knows at that point, and we stop caring about truth. That's the thing. Like, it saddens me that words has no power in North Korea, because the regime using words to do so many horrible things, it doesn't carry any meaning there. And I think that's gonna be the hardest thing when North Koreans like become open and try to be like coming to this civilization that we are having. That of course they gotta learn like how to use the internet, all of that, but one thing they are gonna have a hard time understands like why the world matters, why truth matters, why finding out truth is also matters. It's gonna be very hard for them to understand that. So Keith, thank you. How are North Korean kids taught about traditional Korean culture, 가야금, pansori, etc.? That's the thing is that, like, you know, most of children in North Korea in the countryside, they cannot go to school. We are like literally starving, right? And when we go to school, they use us as a slave laborers. They make us to work in the farm and construction zones. All this like 7 years old, 10 years old. So they do teach those traditional instruments for the elite kids in Pyongyang, but not the rest of the population. Thank you, Brad. Anti-China sentiment is very high in South Korea at the moment. Also, I will not visit Korean restaurants in China, Cambodia, or Thailand. Most of those restaurants are North Korean government owned. Thanks for the video. Yes, that's true. There are tons of restaurants that run by Kim Jong-un in Cambodia, Vietnam, tons of European countries too. And they make money. They're using these girls as slaves in that restaurant, and then make the money to Kim Jong-un. So I think, yeah, China is the biggest place to have those North Korean restaurants, exotic restaurants, and a lot of like the tourists go and pay money, and even the tips that you give to them, they cannot keep. These girls cannot keep. And just remember, they have cameras in that restaurant, and they literally even kidnap people if they want to. So just be careful. Anything that was run by North Korean regime, just be careful. So Jay Liu, thank you so much. Mama JJ 儿子什么意思？谢谢。Thank you, Prickly. So Steven, okay, I think I did that question. Right, now let's go down. Let's see. So, Cyclone John 69, thank you so much. Let's see. Sorry, there are so many questions I'm going through. Let's see. Beginning, so everything. So, can you do North Korean fashion video? North Korean fashion video? There's no fashion in North Korea, guys. Like, there, no fashion. Wearing jewelries are illegal. Wearing, like, jeans are illegal. Like, growing your hair is illegal. I mean, like, our body is not your body. I know here I came to learn this thing. People say like, my body, my choice, right? Nope, not in socialist North Korea. Nothing is yours in that country. Like literally, nothing is yours. When you're born in that country, you don't own yourself. The regime owns you. Like I was talking to my North Korean friend today. He was like top elite, and he was telling me what was the most wanted item in North Korea. What by the elites I'm talking about, not of course the most of people gonna be food, right? But the elites who has food, what is the that they want the most? And he was saying, I'm just so embarrassed to even say this, that pornography, because regime executes people for watching it. So these people are so curious, why does this thing cost my life? So when people say like don't do it, right, you want to do more. Like you just really, really dying curious. So among the elites, he was saying it actually traded for $1,000 for one pornography. And I was asking him, why would anyone want to risk life for that? And second of all, why would they pay that much money for that? It's because it's just so forbidden. It makes it that like valuable. And a lot of elites in North Korea watching pornography and get executed. And like I was thinking, what a way of dying, right? Like I lived and I died for watching porn. And it's just so laughable at this point, but the thing is, it's not laughable. Like that's how little freedom they have. They do not have even freedom to what to watch. Like watching movie gets you killed. Like reading wrong book like Bible gets you killed. So many things gets you killed, and almost, you know, it's the list of things that you shouldn't do. Instead, you just write down the things that you can do, which is only a few, right? And then just don't do remaining things. That's like the only way to survive in North Korea. Don't think what you can do. Just think about what I am allowed to do, and then just stick with it. I think that's like one survivor tip in that country. Let's see. Bubble jam? 약간 Yeonmi become anarcho-capitalism instead of buying into the liberal propaganda your handlers visual government is the problem. I don't know how to interpret that question, sorry. If Peter, so if China went to war with Taiwan and the US, do you think North Korea would support China by invading South Korea? Possible, very possible. Yeah, if America's gonna go to war with Taiwan, with the CCP, right, against CCP, I think North Korea's interest keep China there. So definitely, I think that is a possibility. And I mean, North Korea has been preparing war against South Korea for the last 75 years. So that's complete possibility to do that. So Christian, thoughts on Office 39? Yep, so this Office 39 is, guys, the office that makes money for Kim Jong-un to, so they create a lot of foreign currency. They are the ones who's running hackers, the ones who are selling the weapons and drugs and human trafficking. And this is a very important thing for Kim Jong-un because that's his money line, right? In order to rule a country, you need money. And there was a person who was Office 39, escaped in 2016 and then came to DC in Virginia, and his children actually are in America. I've been talking with them, and it's, yeah, I was like, I couldn't believe even those people who was like top thing, they were scared to death of being persecuted by Kim Jong Un, because you never know when is your turn to get executed. And that's the thing, like even no matter how loyal you are, like because of the guilt by association, somebody does something wrong in your family or in your circle, everybody collectively responsible. That is the thing, like in a one class, right? Like entire class, I remember, like sometimes 60 kids in the one class, and one of them does something wrong, then our teacher would make all of us go out in the snow and rain, make us like run for 5 hours in the like stadium to teach us mental, like a group mentality, that collective mentality. So North Korea does these things, like if their employee does something wrong, the boss gets punished together. And so how we get affected for what other, like the things that we are not responsible for. And yeah, so that's what I think, like it's just so insane how they are just how want to control people in that degree and make us just all like not liking each other and distrusting each other. So Steve, would you prefer to supply North Korean citizens with unlimited food to eat or unlimited guns? AMMO was that, and knowledge to use to start civil war and take back their freedom. Not that war is always the answer. The guns, absolutely. If there's a way I can get smuggling guns in the hands of those rebels, I would. Actually, this is not something we are joking about. Like, we couldn't be able to. I can openly talk about it. There's so many times with my other defectors, we sit down, we talk about. Imagine if we had guns in our hands, this regime would not be this way. We could never be enslaved by this regime like this. And yeah, and that's why the regime goes that far to control guns, so it doesn't end up in the hands of people. I mean, like, if food is good, I can feed them, but the thing is, like, you are fed for one day, it doesn't do anything. Eventually, what matters is them freeing themselves from the dictator. So, I think, yeah, it's, I know, someday just God drops guns from the North Korean sky and give it to the people. I don't know how that's gonna help. Oh, thank you, Mark. I love you too. I love you guys all. David, thank you so much. Hi. I know, so let's see. Brad, so thoughts on North Korean expert Victor Cha, read his book? Yes, I read his book Impossible State. Victor Cha is a Georgetown professor. He has really interesting views, very interesting views. But the thing is, I gotta be honest, he's a he's a scholar, and he was almost going to be appointed by Trump to deal with North Korea issue, but he didn't get appointed eventually, and he's a very bureaucrat. I think that's the thing. I just not hopeful that government gonna fix this, because if the U.S. government or any other government was going to fix North Korea, it's been almost 80 years. It should have happened. It didn't. So I don't think that change is ever gonna come from government solution. So that's why Victor Cha is incredible. His insights are unbelievable. I think everybody who wants to learn about North Korea more should read his book called Impossible State. But I think the solutions, I do not echo every word that he says. So let's see. Brazil loves your story. I love Brazil. I want to visit you guys sometime. Let's see. So yeah, love from India. I love that. It is amazing, like how like many people have a heart for North Korean people, even though we are so like far away apart. So okay, when's the last time you got in contact with I know Jacob. Let's see, how long do you usually live? So how long do people usually live here in North Korea? Well, our lifespan is super short. So if anybody lives until like 58, we think they lived the war. So that's what I keep thinking. Now I'm 27 years old, and people say like, "Oh my God, you're a baby," and like really, in North Korea, I'm like, I don't know if you guys know that term, like azuma. I'm a mid-aged woman, and my friends would be there. Has gonna have so many wrinkles and gonna be suffer so much. They're gonna have so many disease by now. Like yeah, if women don't get married until like 23, it's like a very like a rare case. They would like literally think something's wrong with you, and a lot of girls do get married like around 17, 19 years old. So I just cannot believe like now I'm here. People live until 80s or 100s, and 27 is young. So and because like the nutrition and bad health care, it is like what causes North Koreans die very quickly. So let's see. Plans for second book, Farzin. Not yet. I am thinking about it, as I'm always saying. But I do want to see more actions with North Korea. That I do want to see more, solid action from American government and the international community to convince Chinese government. And somehow, if you guys helping me to let your friends know that how modern slavery is happening with North Korean girls in China right now. Like girls just like me right now literally are being sold for $300. And Chinese people are selling us on their Google, like Baidu, like pigs. They literally called me when I was there that this rapist, right, the human traffickers will tell me, like even if I kill you right now, that nobody gonna do anything to me. There's no consequences for me killing a North Korean. You are not even as worth as than like the pig that we are raising in the farm. So I just really hope all these social justice warriors who is fighting for injustice and slavery, oppression, systemic oppression, racism, all of this, I hope they join me for this fight too. We are fighting for human beings after all. Why they only want to be behind a certain fight, not the fight for all entire humanity, all lives. And so please guys, like please keep helping me to let your like friends know what Chinese regime is doing with North Koreans. Right now there are more than like 300 like 1,000 North Koreans are hiding, and over 90% of them are women, and most of them are being trafficked and being sold right now, and I'm being raped every single day. So these are slaves right now, and slavery didn't end like in centuries ago. It's still going on. So it is our job to stop this, and ending this is a tragedy that yeah, it's just so, I don't know why the mainstream media would not cover this. Why does this not making a headline? Like where when some people get shot on the street, it makes headline. Of course it should make a headline, right? But then why some lives just don't matter? It's yeah. Well, Anthony, do you believe reunification of Korean Peninsula is possible? Well, anything is possible, I think, but between South and North Korea, reunification is highly unlikely for the moment, I think, and it might never happen, who knows. But the thing is, I do think North Koreans and South Koreans have evolved in a very dramatically different way, that it's gonna be very painful even if that happens. 안녕하세요. So is Brad is asking, is North Korea government like the mafia? Do they engage in counterfeit currency, selling illegal drugs and illegal cigarettes all of them, they are not only just like selling drugs or weapons, they're selling missiles, nukes. Literally a lot of those Middle Eastern, like the region where the weapons are bought by North Koreans. North Korea were sharing their nuclear weapon strategy with Iran, and every country wants to have nukes. North Korea is willing to sell them. This like strategy how to build them. So yep, North Korea is the biggest exporter of those like weapons, drugs, and human slaves, all of them. And that's why like when people call North Korean government as a country, it's not a government. It's like a gangsters. Literally, like Kim Jong Un is a gang member. So Steve, I hope you can see a happy ending soon in North Korea, and for you as well, maybe some wedding pictures. Well, good night from Pittsburgh. Oh, good night. You guys been amazing. I don't know how long you've been going on, but yes, it's pretty late time. I know some of parts is like still day. So what do you think the Korean word for feminism? This is more today's topic that I want to talk about. Of course, in North Korea, I did not know the word feminism. I only heard when I came to America. So I don't even know the word for it in Korean. When I heard it, I thought it was such a beautiful thing because I didn't completely understand, and there's so much variation of this word feminism. All I'm hoping is that everything has a balance, and if something, this is like how I think of tradition. Like some traditions are very bad, but if something were tested for that many thousands of years of that history and survived, like a marriage, one man and one woman, right? There is a reason for it. And I think that's why I mean the radical things sometimes like it's necessary, but a lot of it, I think we gotta be very thoughtful when we choose a radical side. The world is not as simple as it seems. There's a reason why our ancestors did certain things for a certain way for that long. Not because they were sometimes they were stupid, but sometimes they really were a lot wiser than we were. So that's why I could have gone that direction of hating men because I was raped by men a lot, so I should have all the reason to hate them, but I don't, because that's not how actually the world is about. So, and this is like my problem is like when you demonize a certain group, like you demonize white men, like certain race, like all of this, that is toxic. What it is like, we cannot like stereotyping people. We gotta look at them all as individuals, and there's certain things that men can play and women can play. And I feel horrible for all my friends living in this like San Francisco, LA, New York, and Chicago, and cannot find a boyfriend who wants to be exclusive. It's almost hilarious. Like I don't know what my friends in North Carolina like think of this. If I tell them like, do you know like this is a real thing here, they will not like understand what this is. So let's see, guys. Oh, by the way, guys, so have you seen that video that I did with my friend Sherry? She was talking about her mother's cancer. I just released that video yesterday. If you haven't, please watch it. And I am also having another live with her tomorrow at 1 p.m. Central Time. So I hope you come to see her and her story and ask her all these questions. I'm sure you might be bored of me by now, but she's pretty awesome. So can you explain why you banned my account? Are you just a mouthpiece for your government? Everyone votes for a dictator. Democracy can be just evil. I do not know if I do not ever ban accounts, but I do have a moderator right now, so they might have banned you. I don't know how that ever works, but if you got banned, I'm sure you got deserved it. Because I have pretty high tolerance for trolleys and criticism. Because I don't get offended. Like, I do not ever take it personally. Because, first of all, the people say all these things about me. You don't know me. And you were not there when I was going through all of that. Like, I know my truth. I know what I went through. I know what my people are going through. So when people are saying all those things, it doesn't affect me in any way. But sometimes I really like, sometimes I block it because it's so like they making very, like inhumane things, like about the people that I love. They try to hurt them, and or like try to say like, that like North Korea is a paradise, America is the worst country in the world that exists. And I know like so many people believing that, but that is not true. Like, if that is the case, why everybody wants to immigrate to America, not North Korea? Seriously, in your heart, if anybody believe that America is as worse as North Korea, why? Why are we having this influx of immigration to this country, in the worst possible country, right? So you gotta give some credit to this amazing country that lets you have that kind of unbelievable idea. And I respect diversity of thoughts, and that's why I was actually making sure even my moderators today, they were so kind enough to volunteer to moderating this session. But I was telling them, I really don't mind ask for the harder questions. You can ask me anything, any aspect of my story. You can ask me all of that. But the thing is that if you got banned, I think you deserved it. So I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. Anyway, so let's go through 3 more questions, guys, before we get too passionate about it tonight. Will North Korea ever be free? Owen asks, yes, because it will be, because we will make it work. I was having this talk yesterday at Harvard Kennedy School. There were 6 North Korean defectors, and they all like escaped in the last like 5-10 years period. And one of them is running for a conservative party in the UK. One of them is a Columbia University NC master's graduate. One of them is a successful like a non-profit like CEO. One of them is a Fulbright scholar and doing his PhD and about to become a doctor and become a scholar in America. North Korean immigrants are very new immigrants. So America, guys, believe it or not, I still cannot get this. Like, this country accepts so many people. Only in 2007, they accepted the first North Korean refugee. And then guess how many they were accepting? 1 per year. It's like, I just don't get it. Why are they doing this? So they get like 1 defector a year since 2007, and some years they've accepted 3 or something. So now in America, there are only over 200 North Korean defectors in entire USA. So not even like how many, 1 or 2, 3 maximum per state, right? It's like that's why you never get to meet North Korean in America. We are very young immigrants. We only started escaping in the late 90s, and a lot of them are in 2000. So if the North Korean defector who has escaped and keep coming to the West, to keep going to the free countries, we are gonna bring freedom to our homeland. We are gonna fight for our own freedom. And of course, with your support, that fight is gonna be so much easier. And that's why we are so grateful that people like you guys exist, who cares about justice, who cares about freedom. And another thing is exciting because there's a huge data. North Koreans, 65% of them, of the defectors who go to South Korea, all of them together, are aged between 10 to 30 years old. So we are super young. So there's so much potential for us to be educated and learn and lead this movement. And that's why I do believe in people. And I also see how many people are supporting freedom in North Korea, like all of you are here. I think that will happen. It's just only a matter of time. We just keep trying until we get it done. because nothing that is worth in life is easy. I'm sure it's gonna take a time. So yeah, we are trying to be our best to be patient and be persevere, all of these things, and we're gonna make that happen. So keep staying with us and keep hopeful. It's gonna happen, and I will promise I will be your tour guide when North Korea becomes free, and I will take you guys to everywhere in North Korea. So last two questions, guys. Here. Have you thought about running for a political position? Low-key asked. I'm not sure if I'm qualified because I think there are so many smart people in America, and I think those people should be not going into tech or investment banking. I think more people should be aspire to become a politicians. It is sad, like a lot of smart people in America now not becoming doctors and just going to tech and banking industry. It's nothing wrong with going there, but I think they're like government, as much as I hate big government, limited government is a good thing for all of us. So I do believe in politicians. I hope I do. Otherwise, how are we gonna do, right? They are the ones deciding our future. Like they are deciding how much money they want to print each month. Like this is like, I just don't even realize like how people are not freaking out. This is theft. You know how what government's doing right now, printing this much money, and how we're gonna be all screwed, and nobody's like paying attention. They're just so busy getting that few $100 paycheck right now and not thinking of the long-term consequences. So I don't think I'm gonna run for the government here, but maybe, who knows, in 10 years after maybe I live in this country long enough, and if I have the confidence that I can be helpful, I will maybe choose to run, but not now. So let's see. Oh my god, love all your questions. I wish I was just were able to stay here all night and answering your questions. So what is the biggest difference between North Korea and where you live now? That's the thing. Like, difference is not even doing a justice saying I live in a different country. Like, I'm like living in a different planet. That is the thing. Like, the human language that we have to describe North Korean life and here doesn't that like translate that way. So yeah, like when people say like, what was your culture shock, I was like, well, if I had a culture in North Korea I would be in shock, but we didn't even, I don't think even we had a culture. Like we were just busy surviving and scared every second. Watch out my tongue. And this, I can answer this question this way actually. I can see the similar things that happen in North Korea that I see now where I live, which is like the number one thing that my mom taught me as a young girl was that the most dangerous thing that I had in my body was my tongue. She said, if you slip out any one wrong word, she was saying it was gonna kill 3 generations of our life. So watch out what you say. Don't even whisper. Like birds and mice can hear you. Don't even whisper. Now I'm in America, I see this. Like not as the extent, but if you say the wrong thing, especially in public, you can lose your job and you are forever. It's gonna be online. You're gonna be forever like penalized for that. This is something similar that I see. Like now I see so many Americans are filtering themselves and busy trying to not offend and saying the things that is only politically correct. This is super scary. Like our tongue shouldn't be a danger to our life. What we say should never be a danger to what we do. I think Dr. Peterson was saying that like humans, we learn, like we figure out things by talking. Like why do we go to therapy? We go to therapists and say things like, I feel this way when he did something, I feel this way, and then I hear myself, but that was so ridiculous how I was feeling that way, and then I learn from it by talking. So now the fact that your language might be offending somebody, don't talk, that means they asking you not to think. And this is where this is happens. So critical thinking is gonna die in this point when you cannot talk. That ends your thinking skill. Then you are not able to think for yourself. Why the regimes like North Korea are obsessed controlling with what people say, with their speech. That's the first thing they come for you when they want to control the country, when they want to enslave the population. Controlling the language, what you say is the first thing they go for. No freedom of speech, right? And then if you control what they say, the second thing is gonna be automatically they're gonna control what you think. If you are not able to think of something, it's so easy they can control us. Like we all become these like brainwashed robots, right? Empty, soulless beings there. And that's the thing. Like it's not just as simple as I want to just say the bad things to people. It's not that. Like talking is so essential for being a being, being a human, and it helps figure out truth, and it helps us to understand ourselves and other people and our thoughts, our thinking process. And right, that's why therapy is wonderful. So this is so saddening that Americans are losing that right now. Like you cannot talk anymore, and this is like I just cannot believe that this is a freedom of speech is like such essential for being free and being in a free country, and we are losing that. Another thing that I find very similar to North Korea is I was talking about the guilt by association, right? The white guilt. Or like white privilege. Like what does that even mean, right? When you choose, who chooses to be white or black or Asian or any of that? Nobody. So you are not being guilty or privileged by being who you are. There's none. Because nobody chose it. Like when we are born, nobody chooses who we become. So you penalize for them being who they are, that is injustice. That is wrong. That is completely forced. And then suddenly people going after people saying, your ancestors owned the slaves, so you gotta pay the reparation, or you should be guilty about your history, or like you should be guilty about your privilege. It's like, that's North Korea, because my great great-great-grandfather owned small tiny piece of land. My mother's, like my grandmother, my mother, like caste system was below, so I was born in that caste system. How did I have a saying with my great-great-grandfather when he was alive that time? I didn't have that luxury being alive then. So how are you blaming the people who was not responsible for that? And this also leads to the other point. There's no forgiveness. There's never moving on. Like in North Korea, forever going after people who was like landowners, who were capitalists, who was not fighting communist like side of the war. And what can I do? Like, well, I'm sorry, I didn't understand. Like my great-grandfather was stupid, didn't get it. But what can I do as a young person who was just born in this country? So there is no redemption. There's no way out of it. And then we are stuck and forever hating and bitter and resentful and being miserable altogether. Why we can be cherishing how much we have achieved as a humanity. Like there's like data, people saying, oh, there's like 20 people, top billionaires owns as much as like 50% of the lower population, and it is shocking, like the income inequality. But they say how much people were lifted by poverty. We were all lifted up together. Of course, some people were like excelled, they went up super high. But the point is that free market lifted all us up, all of us, even the bottom went up. And of course, there's always two sides of the coin. And I think that's like what I see, that just people here now just I don't know what happened to you guys. Seriously, like you are the Americans, you are the Westerners. You've been here way longer than me. I just came here, so I don't know what began this madness. I don't know what caused for all of this thing gone mad like this. This is truly madness. And I see so many similar things that happen to my country and seeing in America. And even though I should be the person keep telling you that you should be hopeful, but I'm not. I am not. I think if we go in this direction, I don't think, like Americans, like, you know, like our ancestors came here, they suffered so much for freedom, right? Religious liberty. They paid so much price, like for making this great country, and now suddenly expecting people to this great country to last without working anything for this value that we built on this country. And I guess that's why it's falling apart. I just, all I know is that I think soon I have to fight for my freedom in America. I already am, because of why I'm being censored, all these like social media companies. I already am, but I think it is, you know, fight for freedom is not only North Korean thing now. It is for all of us, fight for our freedom and our individual liberty. I know that I went so hard. I like lost a lot of questions. I guess people can be very suspicious of North Korean defectors. I don't know why, but thank you so much, friends. And Dave, thank you. Good night. Thank you so much, guys. So I hope that was helpful. I know that, you know, my thoughts are not complete, and nobody's thoughts should be ever complete. That's dangerous route you're ever going to. All these people who believe in Marxism say, I know the truth. I figured that whole thing out. No, nobody figured out anything. The world is so random. Like, things are so random and complex. Nobody knows anything. And that's why we gotta keep talking to each other. We gotta keep talking and figuring out the truth together. Not forcing the other person your belief, and if they disagree with you, they get canceled and they're outcasted. That is not how we make the world a better place. That's like destruction of the world that we have built. And I know, guys, it's our, I wish I was more politically correct, but I'm not. If that was offensive, forgive me. But, you know, I literally crossed desert to be free and speaking my own minds, express myself freely without censorship. So I hope that you all use that, guys. This is so valuable. This is not guaranteed for anyone. So many people dying to have the right that we have right now. So many people dying to have a voice. You have no idea like what it feels to have not having any voice, not being heard ever in your life. And so we are privileged in that regard. We have that voice, and this is what matters. So we gotta use that voice wisely. So thank you for joining this tonight and supporting me and asking all those wonderful questions. I hope that you guys come for my Q&A with Sherry tomorrow. She's such a sweetheart, and she has gone through a lot. She has a lot of still sadness in her, and yeah, please come there and support her and show your love. I am eternally grateful for you to give me this platform to have a voice and speak out for my people, my truth, what I think. And I looking forward to our journey together, continuing finding our truth and fighting for the free world. So good night, guys, and love you guys so much. See you tomorrow. Love you guys. Bye. Bye, guys. Good night.